As somebody recommended to you that you should meditate. Quite frankly, if you are listening or watching this podcast, you probably have heard me recommend to you that you should meditate. And I'll admit at the same time, I'm not super consistent with my own meditation, and I've worked it in some creative ways. The cool thing is there are some documented benefits to meditation that will kind of blow your mind. And during this period of upheaval and change and stress, those benefits make a big difference. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Mind Your Midlife, your go-to resource for confidence and success, one thought at a time. Unlike most advice out there, we believe that simply telling you to believe in yourself or change your habits isn't enough to wake up excited about life or feel truly confident in your body. Each week, you'll gain actionable strategies and, oh my goodness, powerful insights to stop feeling stuck and start loving your midlife. This is the Mind Your Midlife podcast. Meditation is about calming your mind and being in this present moment. And I feel like when I say being in this present moment, that's a phrase that gets sort of misconstrued or overused. Think of it this way. We often are running through our days a mile a minute. And even if you've sort of passed that phase of life where you have to run a mile a minute, our brains often are running a mile a minute, and we don't necessarily pause and check in and say, why am I thinking about how my shoes look terrible over and over and over half the day? It's checking in and noticing that is part of the power of meditation. And it's also giving yourself some time to rest. And not rest as in take a nap, although you may fall asleep, that's okay. But rest as in calm the nervous system, calm the mind, take a breath. And so I wanted us to be able to hear from a meditation expert today. So Lauri Stern is joining me on the podcast. She is a podcast host herself. Her podcast is called The Real and the Woo. She offers custom designed wellness. She's an energetic wellness strategist, as well as an author and a yoga teacher. So working with her clients, custom designing wellness, a piece of that is meditation. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So welcome, Lauri. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
We're going to be talking about something that we all kind of know is probably good for us. And we think maybe we should do it. And we feel like we can't. And that's meditation. So you have this technique that you call chaos meditation. And I want you to tell us more about what that is, because I feel like we do always feel like we can't stop our heads, we're too busy, all that stuff.
Yeah, whether we're in midlife or any point in the middle of our life, in the middle of a task, in the middle of anything, especially in the middle of waking up. So I work with a lot of clients who cannot get off the crazy train, the hamster wheel. You know, when I was a young mommy doing all the things with my 4 kids and going here and there and everywhere, I wish I had this practice, because all I knew in the moment when I caught myself looking at myself in the mirror and I look like a monster, really pissed off, aggravated mom, all the shame, all the guilt. Why am I so angry? I should love this life kind of thing. I wish that I had this. And what the chaos meditation does for us is it lets us go crazy. It lets us welcome in all of the thoughts so that we don't push them aside with anger, shame, or guilt. We give them space. Like, think about your kids. Think about yourself. You want to be validated. You want to be heard and understood. And our thoughts want to be heard and understood. Now, the difference is we are not our thoughts. We're also not our emotions. So when we're getting carried away with either, we're not in our center of ourselves. Yeah. And the word meditation is such a turn on to a lot of people, but also a turn off, because especially if you're a high functioning, overwhelmed midlife woman leading in any way, shape, or form. You don't want one more thing to do. And so, right? And so saying, oh, you need time to meditate. People are like, are you kidding me? When am I going to sit on a rock and contemplate my navel? Do you know how much I have to do? And in fact, yeah, I do, because I've been there and I'm still there, right? We're all busy. And so the chaos meditation really came about like everything else from a client session. And it's just an opportunity. Give yourself time. So whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the idea is to create a boundary by setting an alarm or a timer so that we're not always just going on the train and then it's been an hour and we are not being productive and now we're angry at ourselves because we wasted time. So if you give your chaos a container and you let yourself go there. It's like sometimes I think about Batman and Robin with all the talk bubbles, bing, bang, pow, pum. Let them come. Let them be big and bold and colorful and loud. Feel all the feels, think all the things. And when the alarm goes off, stop. And
Interesting.
just like running a race, you might have to take some deep breaths to re-regulate the nervous system. I highly recommend that. That's part of the meditation too. But that's really what it is. It's letting your mind give itself its chaos.
Yeah.
And for some clients, they have to do this a few times during the day. They might excuse themselves to go to the bathroom if they're at work, for example, or go on a walk and just, again, but set an alarm. Because if you don't, then you will get carried away.
Right. And I think for any type of meditation, the alarm is the key, or at least it is that way for me. And
Mm.
just to step back for a second, meditation, in my experience, can be kind of anything where you're taking the time to center yourself and be present. And typically, and this is why we're talking about what we're talking about, typically people will say you want to kind of empty your mind and allow
Mm.
the thoughts to come and it's okay, and then just let them go. And as you say, we feel guilty, we feel stressed, we can't just allow the thoughts to come and let them go. So this is an intriguing twist on that. You're almost encouraging them all to come, right?
Yes, because I find too, and I'm in this category. I also teach yoga. And one of the hardest things I see in students, and one of the hardest things for myself for probably 2 years, was to really not just stay for Shavasana, the end of class, but enjoy it. I would start immediately knowing class was ending when I was a student. And, here in Chicago, we had something called Jamba Juice, which is like, I guess, Orange Julius. And I was obsessed with this drink. And I would be like, Jamba Juice, Jamba Juice, Jamba Juice. And then I'm like, when I'm after Jamba Juice, I have to go to the store and I have to get this and I have to get this and I have to get it. So I would just start making my list. Listen, yoga is called a yoga practice for a reason. It is not called yoga perfection. And neither is meditation. Meditation is a practice. And so if you can empty your mind for any period of time, bravo. But what meditation does is it trains our minds to come back to center. Okay. Now, for me, I learn by doing. And one of my best ways to meditate, I just did this, which is why I look like I do. I rode my bike for an hour and a half this morning. I get the best downloads. I clear my mind, whether I'm listening to music or podcasts. Sometimes when you're moving, that's your best meditation. So taking a walk can be a meditation. Shopping for a yellow shirt. Let's just have a goal. I'm going to get a pair of shoes today. Go through the racks, try on the shoe. It's just bringing you into the present of whatever you're doing. And then it doesn't become something you have to perform or something you have to do perfectly. You just give yourself a chance to just be in the zone.
Yeah, I like that. One of the things that I do, because I do believe meditation is really powerful and at the same time don't always do it. So one of the things I do for my circulation is legs up against the wall, which I assume you'll know because That's a yoga thing. And so
Uh,
now I combine them finally to get myself to do a little bit of meditation. I'll go do that for 5 minutes and I'll put a timer and then I'll try to just, let my mind calm down as well. But sometimes it really doesn't work. So I like this
yeah.
idea of let me just woo whatever's going on and then the timer goes off. And what do we do at the point when the timer goes off if we're allowing all this chaos to go on in our brain?
A couple things. I want to go back to your legs up the
Hmm.
wall. It's also really good for digestion after a big meal. I know my daughter does it. She sends us pictures of
Ah.
her legs up the wall and her dog's legs up the sofa next to her. It's really cute. Uh, and the other thing too is when you're do you ever use mudras when you meditate? Do you know what mudras are?
I don't know what that word
Okay.
is. No.
So if anybody out there, if you ever practiced yoga, and the teacher like I do says, bring your hands into Anjali Mudra, which is prayer pose.
Hmm.
Mudras are anything we do with our hands. And there's a number of mudras that connect with the chakras, which is the lens I use for the coaching and the strategies I offer. But um, Gyan Mudra, when you connect your index finger and your thumb,
Hmm.
it connects the
Hmm.
individual to the universe. So if you're ever, I use this a lot in traffic, or you can do it under the dinner table, especially at family meals when there's too much going on. It just brings you into a state of mattering to yourself. And just that little bit of a connection might be a good reminder. Come back to my thoughts, come back to my breath. Sometimes I know tapping is a thing,
Yeah.
but you can do this and no one sees you. And it's just, again, like a little bird tapping on your window, like, hey, you've gone off the path, come back to the path. So that might be helpful for you or anybody else. Hand on heart, hand on belly. Touching the body is a really good way to bring you into any sort of meditative state. It's comforting, it's nurturing.
Yeah.
And when you're coming out of that chaos meditation, I was going to say that's the first thing I do, hand on heart, hand on belly, because you do then come back to the body,
Hmm.
and taking deep breaths puts the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system from fight and flight to calm, right?
Yeah.
So when we do that, it's like a Polaroid picture. Alarm's going to go off. And for some of you, you can be like, okay, done, let's go. Some of you really need to take some time to
Hmm.
re-regulate. And that will be different each time you try it. So give yourself grace and humor for sometimes how long it takes you to really come back.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I can see, though, even having not tried this idea of allowing everything to go nuts in our brains, maybe not nuts, but go kind of crazy, I can see how it could, what is the word I'm looking for? I could see how it could feel kind of freeing and
mhm.
maybe give us a feeling that we've sort of dealt with all these things and now we can go do something else. I can imagine that that could be the case. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when we, like I said, when we validate and we give our mind permission to think, right? We want
Hmm.
our brains to work, but we want our brains to work efficiently. And negative thoughts, thought loops, hamster wheel patterns really clog up the system. And so if we can give those parts of ourselves a chance to shine and get the spotlight for a period
Hmm.
of time, they tend to quiet down because they've had their turn.
Interesting. Interesting. I
Everybody
think it's
wants a
worth a
turn.
try. Yeah.
And And the
Yeah.
other thing too is when you touched on, okay, when you come out of a meditation like this or any other meditation, the important thing also is to notice where else are you noticing you might be feeling something in your body, because our bodies are our best barometers of truth. So if you're really letting yourself go down, let's say, a fear train. Lots of things
Hmm.
to be afraid of, unfortunately, and fortunately lately. I say fortunately because it gives us a chance to see really what's true, what we're really afraid of, and what we can sort of set aside in our own reality. But when we come out of a meditation, is our heart still racing? Do we have a little bit of a headache? Does our stomach feel funny? Those are messages from your body that you've got some work to do in your energetic internal systems.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that completely. And it could be a decision we've made that we don't really think we made the right one, or something we didn't do that we know we should have done, or who knows what it is. But yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. We do feel it in our bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, another thing that you've talked about is that meditation can help us figure out what our limiting beliefs are. And this
Mhm.
intrigues me because, gosh, if we could all just find the limiting beliefs and retrain our brains and get rid of them, I mean, we could do anything, right? But they're hidden. And so it's not super easy to do that. So, talk to me a
Mhm.
little bit about how you help people with limiting beliefs. Let's pause for a quick second because I want to let you in on how I start every single morning. At this stage of life, I absolutely refuse to deal with a 20-step morning routine. You have heard me say that. I just want to feel my best. For more than 2 years, my non negotiable has been this one simple duo. It easily checks off my daily veggies, probiotics, vegan collagen builder, all at once, and it gives me great, clean energy. And I literally never travel without it. If you want to streamline your mornings with healthy habits, check out the Green Synergy Elixir and Energy Fizz Duo over at CherylPFisher.com/greens.
Wow. Well, meditation will reveal what needs to be healed 100% if we allow ourselves to get real about it. When you come out of a meditation like that, let's say your stomach's a little upset, you're in anger or fear or worry. And so that work is to notice, is it the same worrying thoughts you typically have? Worrying about your kids, worrying about money, worrying about the state of the world, worrying about gas prices, whatever it is. Any really good practice too that's also meditative is journaling. So after meditation, and again, it's not like you're going to be doing this for an hour out there, you guys. This takes really some time. It can take as long as you want or as little as you want. If you can notice when you come out of that, what were your consistent thoughts? What was your consistent
Mm,
chaotic, memory or energy or whatever, and write it down. And you keep a journal like that, even just for just a couple of days or probably a week, you begin to notice there's categories that are consistent. So is it
yeah,
family? Is it money? Is it myself? Is it health? What is it? And then, the limiting belief stuff is such a catchphrase. And what is a limiting belief? It is a belief that we own, that we may not know where it came from, but it's
right.
in us and it
Yeah,
truly does limit us. So
yeah.
scarcity mindset is a huge one. And when we
Hmm.
talk about abundance mindset, people wig out too, because that's too big of a category. I
Yeah.
was listening to this one. She's like, well, be careful what you wish for. If you just wish for abundance, then you might get a delivery of 25 live chickens because isn't that abundance of
And now
chickens,
you have an
right?
abundance of chickens.
Exactly. You ask for abundance, here it is, an abundance of irritation, right?
Ooh.
So when we're creating containers for abundance, it's like a menu. When we go to a restaurant, do we say, feed me? No, we say, I would like this, I would like this, I would like this, I would like this. Unless you're going to like one of those expensive places and yeah, surprise me for $1,000. Okay. But you're signing up for that. In
Yeah.
general, if you look at your thoughts like a menu, you get to choose an abundance we were just talking about. Choose your abundance category. It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you greedy. It makes you empowered and
Mhm.
accurate.
And I've heard this kind of similar advice in other formats as well about being specific, and given it, quite frankly, to coaching clients in slightly different formats. So yeah, I agree. If we if we just want more success, even sometimes that might come in a funny way that we weren't expecting. If we just want more money, maybe it won't look like what we thought. So yeah, the more specific we can be, the better.
Mhm. And that's when the limiting beliefs come up because I've had this happen with clients. They can't think of the first thing, even just abundance or what brings you joy, which is why I have Joy on the Fives in my own podcast. But right there, when you get stuck in a thought and you can't get over the hump of whatever it is, that's the alarm going off. That's a limiting
Mhm.
belief. And
Mhm.
the insidious thing about limiting beliefs, they're like weeds in our garden and we pull them up, but then something else crops up. Thistle.
Mhm.
I'm dealing with thistle right now. I've written about thistle. Thistle's the bane. It's worse than a thorn on a rose. It never goes
Ugh.
away. You can't kill it. Oh my gosh. So
Bamboo,
limiting beliefs are
that's
like
mine.
thistles. Yeah, right. You'll address one thing, but then the other little offshoots come up too. And the fun part, if you can get to the fun part, is learning where the thought came from in the first place. Where did that belief come
Mm.
from in the first place? Is it really mine? Is it my parents? Is it my religion? Is it my community? And so we really get to parse and weed out the belief. How did it happen? Where does it reside in my body? Can I get rid of it? And how many more offshoots from this belief are also limiting? So
Yeah.
it's like a flow
I'm
chart.
curious. Yeah, I'm curious. What if, uh, and I ask this because I've had some experience dealing with this, but what if someone is thinking, I can see that I'm limiting myself in this particular area. I know there's a limiting belief in there, but I can't figure out where it came from. I don't know anything in my life that would have created this, and it's very frustrating. But we can also get stuck in trying to figure that out. Is it possible to just say it came from somewhere and I don't agree with it anymore? Let me see what I can do now. How can I figure a way forward?
Absolutely. We're in charge. If
Uh-huh.
that works, if you recognize it and you're like, I'm done, be done. It
Yeah.
can be that simple.
Yeah.
We don't have to get on the crazy train of figuring out limiting beliefs if that's just a nonsense exercise.
Mhm.
Sometimes, you guys, it's just that simple. Recognizing, releasing with love and gratitude. How we let go is really important too,
Mm,
because if you let it go with anger, that's going to still stay in you. So we want
yeah.
to, again, acknowledge and validate in order to release in a positive way.
Yeah. And this is where I find that it seems to really help people, and if you're listening, maybe this is true for you, just to realize that we all go through these things, and I'm not unusual because I held myself back in some way. You're not unusual because you held yourself back in some way, because sometimes we do get very hard on ourselves and we almost get angry at ourselves. And of course, that is taking us nowhere good.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
self the self-talk, the negative self-talk, the inner dialogue that we're running, that's really also where this chaos meditation came from. Because,
Yeah.
and I wrote about this when I turned 60. I was in Hawaii with my husband, and I'm happy to share the Substack with you. But basically, I was slathering sunscreen on myself in Hawaii in a bikini, just criticizing every little thing about my body as I'm slathering on the
Mm,
sunscreen. And clear as a bell, my mom, who's on the other side now, had stopped talking about my Lauri Annie like that, because that's what she called me. And I stopped. And I immediately Googled how many thoughts do we have in a day? And I think it's like 80,000, let's say, or 70,000. And 80% of them are negative.
yeah.
And it just hit me. It's like water to a stone. If it keeps dripping and dripping and dripping and dripping, it alters the stone. And so we really need to pay attention and contain our negative thought patterns, because they're not doing us any service at all. It gives us something to do, but it doesn't get us anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. In fact,
Amen.
at the at the time we're recording this, I just had an episode on the podcast about body image and how to
Mm.
get out of the negative stuff. And there will be many episodes about that because we get stuck in it, especially now when our bodies are changing and they don't
Ugh,
always necessarily look like they used to.
no.
Yeah, so much
Yeah.
going on there.
There's a lot going on there. And we are our own worst enemies about that. For every, my friend calls them what the fucks. She'll look in the mirror. She's like, what the fuck is this? And what the fuck? What's wrinkles on my shoulder? Like, what the fuck? And it's like, we're going to write a book about it. We're our own worst enemy with that. Nobody notices what you think. It's like we're walking around with the hairiest zit or wart that's taking up our whole body. And it's infinitesimal, but to us, it's this huge thing. And so
Yeah.
how we deal with our changing bodies and changing minds, because menopause does a number on our brains too. Again, it's about grace and forgiveness and humor and gratitude that we're noticing what we're
Yeah.
noticing. We can't live our lives on autopilot as much as we'd
Yeah.
like to.
So true. So true. And
Yeah.
I guess if you come down to it, that's what meditation is a way to keep us from living on autopilot all the time. A
Hmm.
way to help us pause, breathe, think or not think, rest, something like that, right?
Hmm.
It's
Exactly.
like a pause button. Maybe that's one way to think of it.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. And when we allow it to be, really getting in touch with your mental patterns and coming into a place of feeling healthy in your mind is really what meditation is about. Any form of meditation for any period of time. Pausing is a great way to look at it.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And I think
Hmm.
I think we as busy women in our 40s, 50s, whatever it is, recognize that we need to pause and we need to rest, but we don't always know how to do it and we don't always take the time to
Mm-mm,
do it. So you
mm-mm.
said in many forms, and that was a perfect segue into what I want to just circle back to, because you also said riding your bike as a form of meditation. So give us some kind of creative ways that we could include movement and meditation sort of together.
Gardening,
Ah,
walking your dog, walking yourself, riding a bike, going to the gym, doing all of those things, taking a yoga class, or seated meditation. I lay down a lot when I meditate. I put stones all over my body. Sometimes I listen to guided meditations. Sometimes I listen to nothing or just instrumental music. So for a long time, I really liked the guided meditation,
uh-huh.
except I'm a little type A. And so I didn't notice this until I started teaching yoga. But one of my friends, my what the fuck teacher friend, whenever I take her class, she always knows I'll know what side we're supposed to be on because I pay attention. I was a dancer, so it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But some of these guided meditations I was listening to, they'd be like, and bring a light up your left side. And I'm like, okay, where'd the light go? Like, what are we doing now? Or they'll do everything on the left, but like nothing for the right. I'm like, hello, hello, McFly, you forgot the right side. So I tossed
Yeah.
those. And then I realized I was going squirrel too much,
Mhm.
trying to pay attention to what they were saying versus just get into the feeling. So that's when I tossed the guided meditation. But it is a great way then I offer this to my clients too. I'll record things for them. But yeah, that's a great tool. Or just music. Music that you already know is a great way to meditate because you already know the lyrics. You're not trying to catch what the words are meaning or saying, and it just lets your mind be free to focus on something else.
Yeah.
Dancing. Oh my God. Put on some music and dance your pants off. Any kind of music. If you're feeling rageful, put on some Nine Inch Nails. If you're feeling like you want to love yourself, put on some, love songs, whatever. So music is a great tool.
And so you're saying basically those types of activities, we potentially are getting the same benefits as if we sat still and tried to meditate for however long.
Yeah, I mean, raise your hand if you've gotten in your car and you get to the store and you have no earthly idea how you got there, right?
Absolutely.
You you pretty much meditated on your way to the store because you were mindless,
Mhm.
unfortunately, because you should have paid attention to driving. But
Mhm.
that's what meditation does. Anybody out there who doesn't think they can meditate, if you've gotten to where you're going and you don't know how you got there, you kind of just did a little bit of a meditation,
I like that.
in my
I like
opinion.
that.
Yeah. Just give
Yeah.
yourself a break. You'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I meditated. I don't know how I got here, but boy, I feel better.
I know. I hope I followed all the traffic laws because I have no idea.
No police
Yeah.
cars behind me. I must have been okay. Yeah.
Happens to everyone for
Laughter. I
sure.
mean, laughter and joy, right? Spending time, and this is so huge. Joy. Ugh.
Mhm.
You know, this is why I cultivate it. This is why I believe in it. It's a birthright, just like love. And we forget we deserve to experience joy, especially when we're busy and especially when we're in midlife. We're having a hormonal problem, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you can just, again, get in some sort of present moment where you are noticing what is bringing you joy, a flower, a bug, a smell in the air, something you like about yourself, that raises your vibration. And so meditation is a tool that's wonderful because it does raise your vibration from murkiness to clarity and expansion just on its own. It's nothing you have to try to do. But if you find it difficult, then exercise your muscle of love, joy, laughter, because
Mhm.
that will also put your mind in a different state.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I will link in the show notes an episode I did last year with a laughter yoga teacher. And it was fascinating. And she was saying, even if you're forcing yourself to laugh, ha, 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 ha,
Mhm.
it still has the same benefits, which is really interesting. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a Snapple fact. I bring this up in class and with clients a lot. If you remember Snapple, you'd unscrew the lid and there
Oh,
was a little
yeah.
Snapple
Under the
fact.
lid.
So
Yeah.
the one that stuck with me is it takes more muscles to frown than to smile. So why are you working so hard?
Oh,
And when you smile, whether you mean it or not, just like you said with laughter, your body thinks you're happy. So
absolutely true.
try it.
Yes. Yes,
Ah,
absolutely true. And I love the
yeah.
idea of walking around and just kind of smiling at people as long as it's not a scenario where it's going to be too wacky to do that. I love the idea that maybe that starts spreading it. Maybe they'll smile at
Yeah,
someone else.
exactly.
This is fascinating. Tell us, where can people find you or learn more about what you do?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me, and I hope this was helpful. And I am Lari Stern from Custom Designed Wellness. So that's the name of my website, customdesignwellness.com. And you can go head over there. There is a free energetic assessment that you can just check in with maybe where you are energetically, whether you understand chakras or not. I understand you and speak in the language that you will understand. So I speak the woo language and I also speak very factual and practical language. I am on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and my podcast is called The Real and the Woo podcast with Lauri Stern.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you. And
thank you.
so the last thing that I always ask, because I know that everybody's listening to podcasts while they're walking, doing laundry, washing the dishes, whatever, and we can't remember everything at the time. And one tip, of course, is to save the episode so you can go listen later. But what's one thing that you really want somebody who is listening to this episode to remember, or maybe one tip to help them kind of get started with meditating?
My mission in the world is to help women, especially, understand they matter. So my hashtag is you matter. I have a
Mm,
bracelet that says you matter. And if I can help one person matter, it's just what you said earlier, then it's like Fabergé Organics. Then she will tell two friends they matter, and so on and so on and so
uh-huh.
on. So when we ourselves understand we have every right to be on this planet in the skin we're in for all of our wonderful parts and all the what the fucks that come up along the way, full stop, you matter.
I
And
love it.
then for anybody who's interested in getting in touch with mattering more through a meditation practice,
Mm,
take off your shoes, go stand in the grass earthing and grounding is such a profound way to connect and reset your nervous system just by standing there or sitting in the grass, laying in the grass. You can take some deep breaths, you can put some music on, and I promise you'll feel better. And or just find a way to meditate and practice a bunch of different kinds. Like I said, it's like a menu. And some days you're going to want an appetizer. Some days you're going to want a full course. The other day I had a 55-minute meditation. It felt like 20 minutes. I don't know that I've ever meditated that long, but I was like, wow, right? Sometimes 5 minutes feels like an hour. So just have fun with it. Try a bunch of
Yeah.
things, journal what comes up. And first thing I'd love you to put on the page is I matter. Hi, my name's Lari. I matter. And see how that feels, because that's the first indication that you have some work to do inside. If you can't even really believe and say and look yourself in the mirror, I matter, please
Yeah.
reach out to me, because I've got you. I've seen you. I've been you, and you deserve to matter.
I love that. And, at this phase of life, there's so many things going on that potentially can be hard. At the very least, so many changes happening. And it's really important that we don't lose ourselves in that. I agree. Well,
Huh.
thank you, Laurie.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You matter. I matter. You matter. Wow. Laurie hit it on the head with that, because doesn't it feel sometimes like we need to take care of everyone else and we forget that we matter? Now, that doesn't always mean we get to always come first, of course, but we matter in the difference we're making for other people as well. We matter in all those different ways. I find that to be such an empowering phrase, and I very much appreciate that that's our one thing to remember. So I would love to hear if you start meditating a little bit more often, and whether you see any change in your ability to kind of take a deep breath throughout the day, your ability to calm yourself, your ability to focus and stay on task. So find me on social media, Cheryl P. Fisher, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever. Send me a message and tell me how it's going. I would love to hear from you. And then if you found this episode to be useful, send it over to a friend. Let them know that they might enjoy it, or post it on your stories or post it on your socials, and let women know that this might be helpful for them. And that is amazing. And of course, in the meantime, keep remembering, midlife is your time to take just a little bit better care of yourself. On the inside, that's mindset, meditation, if you will, and on the outside, healthy habits, take care of your body. Just a little bit better makes a big difference.